Thanks to a partial trade, partial donation, I now own a Tandy 1000 TX computer, complete with the original keyboard. I don't know if the machine works. Haven't even fired it up yet. The machine is really dirty, so in this video I'm going to start off by doing my usual deep clean of the case, the keyboard, etc. And then I will do a smoke test. So let's move this keyboard out of the way. You can see on the top lots of dirt and grime. And there's the Tandy little sticker there. Yeah, so I'm going to right now just start getting right into it and cleaning it. We'll be right back.
Radio Shack's sale price Tandy 1000 TX brings the gift of a true high-speed business computer to your home affordably. PC compatible, easy to use, with 7 ready-to-run programs for the family. Keep a budget, write term papers, even create graphics or learn music. Save $250 on the high-speed Tandy 1000 TX, color monitor included, only $1249. Tandy computers, because there is no better gift value. Only at Radio Shack.
The machine is starting to look really good. I've been using Windex and a rag and a Mr. Clean Magic eraser. And as you can see, it is already starting to look so much better. Just giving it a nice wipe down and scrub. See the sticker on top, everything's looking good, you know, all around the nooks and crannies there. So yeah, I'm going to keep on cleaning this thing, and then I will start on this keyboard, and this keyboard's pretty dirty.
2 hours later.
I think I've got the case pretty clean on the outside. I'm going to start on this keyboard now, and I just want to document how this keyboard looks prior to the cleaning. I'm just going to do a surface cleaning. I'll blow the keys out with my compressor out in the garage, and then I'll give the thing a wipe down. Let's turn this over and show you the back side. Here is the back side. You can see it's missing one of the cork feet, but I can get those from the hardware store, you know, some cork, and cut it to fit and stick it on there. But yeah, you can see lots of grime and dirt on here as well. But with the magic of editing here, you'll see it clean in just a moment. The keyboard is starting to look really good. I've already blown out the keys, and I've given it a cursory wipe down on the top. It's looking way better. Let me flip it over and show you the back. And how nice the back's looking now. It's actually cleaning up really, really nice. I did notice on some of these keys there's some yellowing. I don't know if it's coming up in the camera, but probably going to have to retro bright these keys, or I might just kind of leave them. I mean, it's not horribly bad, and it's kind of the story of the machine, you know. What do you think? Should I retro bright the keys or leave it? Let me know down in the comments what you think. But yeah, let's keep on cleaning. I think what I'm going to do next is open the machine up and see what it looks like on the inside. I probably need to blow that out too. Go grab a screwdriver. As you can see, I've got the cover off of the machine. I've already taken it outside into my garage and blew out the dust with my air compressor. It was pretty dusty inside. You'll notice sitting right here is a Western Digital hard drive on a card. And it's got like the edge connector right there, and power and all the hookups right there. This was installed in this slot right here. So I did try powering up the machine with that installed, and it just went click, 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 no booting, no nothing. The floppy drive was clicking, the light was staying on. So I've pulled the card out, and now I'm going to try booting the machine with the card out and see what happens. So let's turn on the power. Hit TV mode, we got 640K. Trying to get to the floppy. Goes to the BIOS, boot, insert, system disk. I don't have any DOS disks on 3.5 inch handy. So what I'm going to do is grab my CF XT compact flash adapter that I have in another machine and pop it in here and give it a boot and see what happens. Here is my Lo-tech XT-CF-lite revision 2 with a 2 GB compact flash card installed. I've got DOS 622 on here and some utilities and some games. So I'm going to go ahead and install this into the machine in this slot right here. Trying to do it while holding the camera. That is now installed. Easy. Now let's go ahead and power on the machine. And it should be booting off of that here in a second. And it is booting off of the compact flash. Starting DOS. Enter date and time. Just going to blow past that. Alright, so we've got a C prompt. Let's hit version. You'll see it's DOS 622. Which is not the appropriate DOS for this machine. I think from what I read it was like version 3.1 or something, Tandy DOS. But for testing purposes this is working. So, what I'm using to get this done. So, okay, so the machine is powering up. It is booting from the compact flash. I've got some games on here, so let's go to the games folder. Some games. Let's see the King's Quest 1. Go ahead and do King's Quest 1. And this should just fire right up here. I demoed this on my 5150 in a previous video. I'll put a link in the description of that if you want to see it. Cracked version like before. Hit escape. And King's Quest is running. And we've got sound. And yeah, the Tandy sound, man, that sounds actually really good. It sounds way better than the stock IBM 5150. Cool. All right, so the machine is working. Now I need to regroup and figure out what the next steps are going to be. What I'm thinking is I'd love to have a 5 1/4 inch drive here and a real-time clock and upgrade the memory, but this is a smaller case, so the 6-pack real-time clock memory board I have isn't going to fit in here. So I need to find out if there is a Tandy 1000 real-time clock memory upgrade solution for these machines.
2 hours later.
Well, a few hours has gone by and I've got the machine even more disassembled than earlier. I have gone ahead and removed the power supply. I have cleaned out the fan. I brushed it out, also blew it out with my compressor. I looked inside the power supply and all the capacitors that I could see, none of them were bulging, so I'm not going to recap this power supply at this time. Little sticker there, danger, high voltage, hot tension. Hot tension, yeah, you get your butt shocked. All right, here is the floppy drive enclosure. 3.5 inch drive, this open 5 1/4 bay here. At some point I will be putting in a 5 1/4 floppy drive. What else can I show you while I got this open? Oh, right here is the original 640 KB of memory. And if you recall earlier in this video, I was talking about wanting to increase the memory to this machine. Did a little bit of research and found out that I could add an additional 128 KB of memory, and Radio Shack Tandy was nice enough to have this board socketed where those chips would go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are 64K by 4, and I got those from a friend of mine, Jared. So Jared, if you're watching, thank you for those chips. I greatly appreciate it. So by adding in that 128 KB of memory, it brings up the machine to 768 KB of memory, and that extra 128 KB is only used for video. And to get the machine to actually see it and use it, I had to remove a jumper right here off of E9, E10, and I've gone ahead and already done that. So by adding that 128 KB of memory, it gives back, I think, 16 to 32K back to DOS. So I have the full 640K available for software and stuff, which is great. What else do we got going on in here? Right here in this empty socket is where a Math Coprocessor would go. I am going to be adding a Math Coprocessor. I've got one on order. So once that arrives, I will go ahead and add it in here. And from talking to a friend of mine, Marcus, and Marcus, hey, if you're watching this, thanks for the heads up on the what I'm about to talk about. And that is apparently the game SimCity uses the Math Coprocessor. So I was thinking I wouldn't put a Math Coprocessor in here because I'm not going to be doing applications and spreadsheets. But if games like SimCity use it, why the heck not? So yeah, that will be coming soon. It might be included in this video or it might be a part 2. It depends on when that shows up. What else? Right here is the Intel 286 processor running at 8 megahertz. So this is a 286, which is awesome. It is a 16-bit machine. However, the slots are only 8-bit. So anything I'm doing just directly on the board, 16-bit, awesome. Any cards I add, I'm going to be limited to only an 8-bit bus. But that's okay, because pretty much everything is on board. Video, sound. The only thing I'm going to be adding in here is a compact flash IDE hard drive adapter. So that is where I'm at right now. And I'm going to move some things around and I'll tell you what the next plan is for this machine. A few hours have gone by, and in that time I have started to reassemble the machine. As you can see, I got the floppy enclosure back in. I've got the power supply reinstalled. I've got the back plate of part of the case installed. And I am going to do a part 2 video since I'm waiting for some parts. I am currently waiting for the Math Coprocessor. I'm waiting for another compact flash IDE hard drive. And I found a real-time clock solution for the Tandy 1000. I am waiting for that to come as well. So yeah, stay tuned for part 2 of my Tandy 1000 video. And at this time, I want to give a shout out to my patrons, the people that support me on Patreon. As you can see there is a link, patreon.com/geekwithsocialskills. That is also down in my description. So yeah, again, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video about my journey with the Tandy 1000 TX. Part 2 should be coming soon. Again, it's dependent on when I get the parts that I'm waiting for. But in the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.